these legends in order to live our own lives.
Really?
And yeah. Like
Well,
you were asking Kevin earlier, like what motivates you? We need, if you don't have anything that's motivating you, then yeah, you would kill yourself. Sort of, maybe. I don't know what I'm going at. But
No, that's
what I'm
good
basically
point.
trying to
That's
say
good,
is
Max.
that everyone needs a motivator, and it kind of seems as human nature to, if it actually doesn't exist, if the complete truth is that there isn't, that we make it up.
Okay. And yet, to think carefully, if there is no God, then it means my birth is an accident, my death is an accident, which means the only thing that lies between those two accidents is another accident.
But see, that's
my life.
That's kind of like an emotional appeal too, because no one wants to believe in their life that no one ever wants to believe that they were born by accident, or that murder might actually not be immoral or an absolute evil. It just seems that we want to believe that, so we rationalize that. That's the number one. That's one of the greatest traits of humankind. We can rationalize basically anything.
Okay. When I tell you that if it's true that my birth is an accident and my death is an accident, that it follows that the only thing between those two accidents is another accident, my life. I'm not appealing to your emotions, I'm appealing to your mind.
No, but that
Think
sucks.
reasonably.
Who here wants that to happen? Who here wants that's the final answer, that we're all an accident?
All right,
That
Max.
doesn't necessarily mean it's true, not true.
Good. And guess what, Max? In order to graduate from this place, you're going to have to study. And that sucks. But sir, that's part of growing up, right? That's part of maturing and getting in touch with reality. So, if it's true that my birth is an accident and my death is an accident, I better grow up and face that reality that life is absurd. It's just an accident. And if that's true, I got to grow up, and although I don't like it, I better accept it because it's true.
Well, the weird thing is, if that is true, I wouldn't want to believe that.
Why not?
I would want to make up a God.
So you do believe in God?
No, I'm saying I want to believe in God. I don't believe in God, but I want to believe in
Then
God.
why don't you believe in God?
Because it's just so hard to with the lack of, I'm just so weary.
With the lack of evidence?
I was going to say evidence. Too big a buzzword. But yeah, it's just so hard to comprehend that. Because it's just, it's impossible to argue that, that the life of a believer is, I think, anyone here could say that the life of a believer is more comfortable than the life of a non-believer. Because that is such a horrible truth, that we're here by accident.
Okay, C.S. Lewis
But that
disagrees
doesn't
with
necessarily mean it's not true.
you. See, C.S. Lewis did not want there to be a God. And I understand why. I have a good buddy who went to Harvard, and he goes to the church now in Connecticut that I pastor. And he sat with me and said, Cliff, when I got to Harvard, I wanted to live a certain lifestyle. The problem is that the lifestyle that I wanted to live made me feel guilty. So I had to figure out a way to deal with my guilt. Very simple. I became an atheist. Because you see, if there is no God, guilt is fantasy. Nothing to feel guilty about. Just do whatever.
But that's the other end of the emotional appeal, though, side. He's using atheism as a way to rationalize his bad behavior.
Good.
But
So we better be very careful about our emotions, and we better be as objective as we're able to and really analyze the situation, right?
But God appeals to the other side of the coin, to someone like Mother Teresa who's doing so much good in the world and saying, what for?
Well, remember, Mother Teresa really struggled with doubt. She was very honest about that in her diaries, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying, everyone who does good in the world wants to be rewarded for it. And God is a very convenient, perfect answer for that. Doesn't necessarily mean it's true,
Correct.
You're saying, but
I mean, it's true.
God is awesome.
Yeah, I agree with that. He is awesome.
It explains everything. You don't know something,
No.
God did it.
No, it doesn't explain everything. There are a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of mysteries for me as a follower of Christ. I don't have the answers to all the questions, that's for sure. I do not know is one of my favorite answers, because it's the truth. I don't know why God allowed suffering. I don't know why God didn't have Hitler's mother have a miscarriage. Would have been rather convenient. Okay, so there are lots of things I don't know. The question is, what does the evidence point to? And clearly, Max, if you look at the options, and that's what I did with your fellow student Kevin before.
Yeah.
Remember, I can't have certainty, positive, about anything in life. Everything is vague to one extent, but that doesn't mean I can't know. Do you think I can prove my wife?
No, I think that's
Good.
exactly it though. It's just not. It's not that there's evidence. It's just that I don't know yet. I don't know yet, and eventually we will know.
We will know? Not if atheism is true. If atheism is true, we don't know nothing.
20 years
100
ago,
years
we didn't
from
know
now.
a lot that we know now.
Yeah, but if
Just to
atheism is
basically-
true, we're all going to die and become fertilizer, so we don't know nothing. Right? We're dead and we become fertilizer. So we're not going to find out. If atheism is true, I'm never going to find out that that's true, because when we all die, we all become extinct. Right? But if Jesus Christ is the truth, then all of us, atheist, agnostic, Christian, are going to find out whether it's true or not.
That's an unfair advantage you have in this debate.
It's a point I just realized a little while ago.
Yeah, I only have 40 years.
You know, if the atheist is correct, we're never going to find that out. We're all going to die and become fertilizer. If the follower of Christ is correct, we're all going to stand before Christ one day and find out that indeed he is true. See, that motivated Blaise Pascal to come up with a wager. And in light of that fact, don't you think you'd be wiser to really check out Christ?
But the wager is a classic example of logical fallacy. Isn't the wager, if I'm correct, is that the one, like the thought problem of, like there's two options. You can either believe in God or not believe in God.
Yep.
And if you don't believe in God,
Right?
and there's a God, you go to hell. But
Right.
if you do and there's not, then so what?
Yeah.
But if you do and there is a God, you get to go to heaven. Yay. I mean, that just seems such like a grab almost.
Yeah. Until you study Pascal's life. Pascal was a brilliant scientist, brilliant, way ahead of his time. He was also into gambling. That was a rather popular activity in his day, to gamble. So it's coming out of that experience of being both a scientist
So he believes in
and a
God
gambler.
it seems that he believes in God out of a gamble. Like that's the best possible choice for him. Almost.
No, he was a brilliant scientist. You see, what Pascal would be saying to you today, right now, I'm convinced is, Max, because the stakes are so high in what we're talking about right now, you better go back and study this really carefully. Because if there is a God and if Jesus Christ is the truth, the consequences last for eternity. But if there is no God, there are no real consequences.
But that's a big,
that separate
that's a
us.
huge if, and kind of like an unfair decision for me to make.
Unfair decision?
For like to think in that sort of way, to
Oh no, Max.
to make life choices not based on what's right and what's wrong. I mean, like what's fact and what's fiction.
Well, that's why I said you
based
got to
on
go
what's
back
the
and
best
study.
for your,
No, you got to go back and study. Max, have you studied the Gospels?
a little bit.
Okay.
I've been to a few youth groups and whatnot.
Good.
and
All right.
Christian
Now,
once in a while.
Max, the issue is so important. No longer is a little bit acceptable.